Hello, welcome to another Age of Empires 2 campaign challenge. If you're returning, welcome back, and if this is your first time here, we're happy to have you. These challenges have brought some new fun to the old campaigns, and this one will be for my favorite of the original 5. The challenge this time is to complete the Genghis Khan campaign without any cavalry archers. I'm including both the cavalry archer line and the Mangudai as off-limits. Last time I took advantage of the Saracens' strong cav archers, so this time I don't get to have any. Also, for anyone wondering, I'll be doing 2 Age of Empires 2 campaign challenges before continuing with the Pirate 101 Nuzlocke. The first level, Crucible, starts with us needing to unite as many tribes as we can. I start with light cav and cav archers, so the archers will have to go. This leaves me with just a few units to get started with. The first tribe I'll try and help is the Cariids. I start off pretty weak with just 4 unupgraded light cavalry, and the Cariids are the only ones who can be recruited without fighting. They just need 20 sheep, which can be found all around the map. The only consistent enemies in this level are the Karakitai, who are without honor, and I occasionally blunder into them. Unfortunately, the units we recruit from the Cariids are just cav archers and 2 monks, so I have to delete most of them. The monks will be very useful though, as it lets me recruit the next tribe, the Uyghurs. The other tribes all require major battles to recruit, but the Uyghurs just need me to kill Ornlu. With just 4 cav and 2 monks, I need to be very careful. I lure Ornlu away from the rest of the pack, as he's the only one aggressive to my light cav, and then I start attacking him. I break into groups, having one fight him while the other rides back to be healed by the monks. Through this, Ornlu is killed without losing any units. I guess he won't be making any more videos. The Uyghurs join and offer some useless flaming arrows, but also some very useful camels. We just need 2 more tribes, both of which will take some serious fighting. The Ungarads need a relic from the Karakitai, and the Naiman and Taichuds both want us to kill each other. I'll save the Ungarads for last, because they only grant us unusable Mangudai. In choosing sides, only the Taichuds will give us non-cav archers, so I'll be attacking the Naiman. The Uyghur camels are helpful here, and the fragile cav archers go down without much issue. With the Taichuds on our side, we only need to grab a relic. There are 2 options on the map, and I decide to go for the one in the western corner of the map. It's defended by a Mangonel, monk, and cav archers, but I can lure them out and have the camels attack the cav archers while the light cav ride down the monk and the Mangonel. As soon as the monastery is destroyed, a monk can grab the relic and recruit the last tribe. I end the level by deleting the Mangudai we just got. The first level was definitely different, and I had to be more careful with my micro, but I wouldn't say it was all that hard. The second level also has us start with several cav archers that need to be deleted. Our goal is to kill Kushluk, and while he can typically be taken down with the starting force, I don't really like my chances without the cav archers. With that in mind, I'll have to go and build a base, and for that I need to capture one. The Taichud town center is lightly defended by some cav archers, but those aren't allowed, so we kill them quickly. Now with a base, we can build up a decent army to charge in and kill Kushluk. While I build up though, the other victory condition comes into play as the Karakitai attack the Great Tent. If it falls, I automatically lose, so I send the remaining cavalry down to attack. It's not quite enough to end the attack, but it at least slows them down in their destruction of the yurts. They make their way around, destroying all the yurts, which gives me time to build up my eco, and send some villagers down to gather food south of the Great Tent. Fortunately, the AI is stupid, and chooses to attack the yurts in my base rather than destroy the tent, which allows me to kill them with town center fire. While that's happening, I reach the feudal age and start building some houses and other buildings I'll need. I train up a scout and use him to bait enemies under the town center until I can build up a stronger army. I continue making my house wall while advancing to the castle age. I start training up a defensive force of camels and steppe lancers to handle the raids from the Karakitai, and I finish the walls with just a small gap to keep the enemy coming from a consistent direction. They also still really go after my yurts, which makes them predictable. The level continues, but at this point there's very little of note. I train up an army and get them their upgrades, focusing on steppe lancers, in order to take out Kushluk as fast as possible. Once I have a decent-sized force of cavalry, I attack the Karakitai, while continuing to train more. My army charges for the palisade wall, smashes it in an instant, and catches up with Kushluk before he can retreat deeper into his well-established base. The steppe lancers make short work of him, and despite the 2 large armies converging in on us, we win the level. Alright, here we go. I mentioned in the Saladin video that the Lion and the Demon might be the hardest of the original Age of Kings levels. Level 3, Into China, is the level that throws that into question. This one is pretty challenging, especially if you don't know what's coming up, and plan accordingly. I started by once again killing off my starting cav archers before sending the light cav east to the engineer's village. We can find a transport ship, which lets us ride into the town, which is lightly defended by militia and crossbows. We are very limited in our attacking force though, so I need to be careful in fighting them. I ride around recruiting some villagers and siege before finishing the fight with the defenders. I move all but one of the villagers back toward the starting area to build up an eco, while the one I left behind chops some wood. There's a slow period after this where I'm just building up the eco as much as I can before the attacks start coming in. I have to be careful though, as the Tongats go after my villager and nearly kill her. I have her build a dock so I can embrace my inner Venetti and escape onto the water if I have to. Now for the master plan. I know that Jin will attempt to build a wonder. and getting to it is typically a challenge as it is across the water. I send the villager across to the northernmost part of Jin's Island to start building up a secondary base where we can both retreat to and strike from. The Tunguts come after us, but we're able to use the last light cav and the TC to fight off their first attack. But I'm running out of time. One of the struggles in building up is housing, as I start with none, and it won't be long until what I have built is starting to be knocked down. My second base is good, but extremely limited in space to build, so it will be a struggle. This would be the perfect opportunity for the rarely seen unique tech nomads, but I don't have a castle to get it. When the next Tungut attack comes in, it has crossbows and 3 rams, so I decide to give up and retreat. I'm able to get my whole group of villagers to the dock, while the enemy is distracted by my buildings. It takes a lot of trips back and forth, but I get everyone over to Jin's Island and build a new town center there. This new base will only work if it stays a secret, so I have to work in a very small footprint at the top of the map. There is wood, and I can make some farms, but I will be limited on gold and stone until I can push out. Fortunately, I won't need too much gold, as I can't use cav archers anyway, and Mongols get light cav with higher health. I'm finally able to reach the castle age in my new base, but now the space is so limited. Houses are a real problem. I try and build out a little, but it attracts the attention of a Chukonu, and another house attracts a cavalier. Things are looking sketchy, but I'm able to take them out with a step lancer behind a wall. I start construction on a castle, both to hold down the defense and get the nomads tech to help with pop space. Both attack and castle quickly make themselves useful, with attacks coming in on both ends of my base. I am holding on though, and use the time to research the techs I'll need and train more villagers. Jin starts to build their wonder, and I'm in no place to stop them. I still need some siege weapons if I'm going to be able to take it out, so I want the Imperial Age for trebuchets. The limited space strikes again, this time with farms being difficult to find space for. Low food production is a real problem when I need to get to the Imperial Age, and my main unit will be light cav. Jin built the wonder super fast. Ascalon should take some notes. I've only got 300 years to take it down. I do have to sell most of my wood to have enough gold, but I'm able to click up. I'll need a lot of gold for my trebuchets, so I need to sell more food. I make 4 trebs, and by the time they're done, I have a decent-sized army. I start pounding away at Jin's defenses, defending with the cavalry, to clear a way to the wonder. With the towers down and more cavalry on the way, I push along the map edge to get in range of the wonder. A couple of volleys is all it takes, and the time pressure is off. With the pressure off, I can get the rest of my cavalry upgrades and make some more stables to overwhelm Jin. It doesn't take long to destroy the rest of their towers and ride into their city. After their town center goes down, Jin surrenders, leaving just the 3 enemies on the mainland. I transport my army and some villagers back across to the old engineer village, and immediately set them to work building as many stables as I can. The Great Wall stands in our way, but it shouldn't be too hard to break through. I'm finally able to mine gold again, so I can train more siege and make the switch to higher health step lancers. Song sneaks an army past me and takes out one of my trebs, so I decide to switch to the more powerful drill siege rams. With a big army and all the production to maintain it, we attack the Great Wall gates. It doesn't slow us down long, and then we are attacking the Tunguts. They try their best to hold off our light cav, but as soon as the step lancers start coming in, they crumble. The rams make short work of their town center, and then it's just a mop-up operation. They haven't fully given up when I wheel around to attack Shishia. Turns out they had another TC at the mouth of the mountain fortress, and after that one is destroyed, they give up. It doesn't take Shishia much longer, and their fortress is crushed. That leaves just Song in the south of the map. They aren't even in the Imperial Age, so they won't last long. It takes a little while to ride there, but their army and village melt as soon as we get there. With the final player defeated, the level is won. What a level. The beginning was hard, and I nearly lost it all, but I was able to pull through. Planning for Jin's wonder is very important. I'm not sure if the challenge made it any harder than usual, though, even if it was very different. I've only ever done this with a big army of Mangudai, so at least it was new. I would not, however, say that it was as hard as the Lion and the Demon, so I'll need to keep looking if I want to find a new hardest level. Next up is the split level, where we fight both the Khwarazm Persians and the Russians. Here I fail the challenge again, as Subutai must survive and is a cavalry archer, but I'll do the same as I did for Joan of Arc and continue with him on no attack stance. We start the level with a base in the north and one in the south, with access to different resources. I decide early that I'm going to abandon the southern base and just focus on the northern one, but I'll still take advantage of the southern eco while I can. Both camps start with some cavalry archers that I need to kill. I also start with 2 trade carts that are gifts for the Shah, and when they reach him, the concealed assassins kill him. I'm sure the Russians will start attacking soon enough, so I build a stable to try and get as much eco as I can in a short time. For that I make a second town center, but shortly after a big army of Russians attack. I just have 2 wolves and a scout to fight them, but I use the scout to bait them while the TC shoots them down. It takes a very long time, but the scout is fast enough to not get hurt, and they are eventually defeated. The northern base has no gold, so I mine up as much as I can in the south before the Persians wipe them out. It takes nearly no time for them to do that with their war elephants, but they do manage to miss all the villagers, so I'm still able to get a bit of gold. I also make sure to mine stone for a castle. while the TC defense works, the whole eco is stopped while it's happening, so I wanted something that I could work while still defending. The Persian army does come north and attack, but with my castle and my TCs all close enough to each other, there is enough arrow fire to fend off the elephants. I defeat the Kipchaks and take their village. Kotian must have escaped, and I try and hold it down with a castle, but the Russians knock it down too quickly. I build enough stables to fight them off, and then rebuild the castle, and start to train trebuchets. I tried to attack, but pretty quickly realized that my production was not high enough, and that I need some more powerful units than hussars and a few steppe lancers. Russian boyars are just too well armored, and I will need to fight elephants, so I switched to making mostly heavy camels. The army reached a point where it could handle any attacks, so I made my second move on the Russians. This time they couldn't hold us back, and the Trebs made short work of their castle and TC. The Russians resigned, and I moved south to fight the Persians. I also made some more stables closer to the fighting so that I could reinforce more effectively. I attacked the northern gates of Samarkand, and despite their army I break in. I guess they didn't have Babur to help defend. Samarkand is big and well fortified, but without being able to fight off my army, it's only a matter of time until my Trebs destroy everything. Level 5 starts with the death of Genghis Khan. I guess his cavalry archer ways finally caught up with him. We continue under Mangudai and need to capture the 3 enemy standards. I start with a small base and 3 Mangudai that I immediately delete. We are in a good spot to fortify, so I send a villager to wall up the 2 passes that lead into camp. This leaves me mostly unopposed as I build up my eco and go to the Imperial Age. A scout informs me that a huge Bohemian army is on its way, but they'll take a huge amount of time to get here, so I can focus on other things. The only attacks come in from the Germans, and just a few steppe lancers are enough to fight them off. In the Imperial Age, I make some siege rams and push out into the middle of the map, destroying the German castle. I'll build 3 of my own to defend and trigger the Bohemian attack. While my villagers build, I send the army south to defeat the Germans, with the rams smashing their gate, TC, and castle. Their army can do nothing against my steppe lancers, and I claim the first flag. I max out my population, then rescue the lightest that had been trapped on the mountain for 15 years. Then finish the 3rd castle and start the big fight. My army vastly outnumbers theirs, and while they get some good hits in with their siege, we win the battle. Bohemia is now undefended, so I make a couple of Trebs to crawl my way through their buildings. I capture their flag and heal up the army while that's happening. The final enemy is Poland, and they only survive as long as it takes for my army to get there. They can do nothing as I grab the final flag. The last level of the campaign has us fighting the Hungarians. It can be a challenging one if you let it get away from you, as they will blow up the bridge and build a wonder, but if you move quickly, none of that will matter. I start with a bunch of Mangudai that I kill right away, and send the light cav down to handle the early attacks. As always, I start building up my eco as fast as I can. The Hungarians charge across the bridge, but I have several saboteurs that can handle them until I build up enough production to defeat them. Subutai is on his way, but I'd like to finish before he even gets here. He is a cavalry archer after all. As Magyars, the Hungarians really focus on cavalry, so this is another level for heavy camels. I build several stables and start training as many as I can. I start with a castle in this level, so I train up a couple of trebuchets and start making my way across the bridge. Already they can't do much against my camels, so I push deeper into their base, constantly increasing trebuchet numbers to make it happen faster. To win, I need to destroy their castles and town centers, which only takes a few more minutes, winning the level, the campaign, and the challenge. Overall, I would consider this the easiest of the campaign challenges that I've done. The Mongols have some very strong options without Mangudai or cavalry archers, in their light cav and steppe lancers with more HP, and the camels which are situationally useful. It really is a testament to how strong Mangudai are, that even with these strong options, I never really used anything but Mangudai in the campaign before. Civs that have multiple strong options are really good for these challenges, which is why Joan of Arc was so much more changed than the others. The Franks are just so focused on knights. The campaign design also makes it less affected than the previous 2, because the levels are much less dependent on what units you start with. All but the first level are pretty much just build up and destroy the enemy. Now I technically failed the challenge, just like Joan of Arc, because I had to keep Subutai alive, although I made sure to complete the final level before he arrived from Russia. With that being said, I still had a ton of fun playing through this, mostly just because the Genghis Khan campaign is so much fun on its own, and the challenge worked especially well with the 1st and 3rd levels. Towards the end of the campaign, it got a lot easier, but that's just the nature of the level design. While this challenge ended up not being so difficult, my next one will be extremely changed from a normal playthrough. I have plans to do a Barbarossa challenge, and after that an El Cid challenge, so those will be coming up. And if you have any ideas for other campaign challenges you'd like me to try, let me know in the comments. I should be able to get the next video out in a week, 2 at most, so stay tuned. Until then, have a great day.